Hello and welcome to the Judo Way of Life podcast. Today I am joined by a special guest, the Judo Nomad. Hello.
Hi there. Thank you for receiving me. So I'm the Judoka Nomad, Julien Brulard, and I'm very happy to be with you today.
Well, thank you for joining me. So we'll just explain, there's a bit of background noise as we go. Can you just, where are you right now?
Okay, so right now I'm Kazakhstan, Almaty, and so for the interview I came to a Wi-Fi place, so I'm in a Starbucks. Therefore, that's why you can hear some noise behind.
So you just arrived there today, is that correct? Or last
Yeah,
night?
last yesterday I arrived there, and basically I'm in Kazakhstan since about 10 days. So yeah, I was in the city of Aktau before, which is just nearby the Caspian Sea, and then I took a train 48 hours to the capital, which is Astana. The new name is Nur Sultan, and then I took a one-day train to Almaty, the biggest city of Kazakhstan.
Awesome. So we'll get back to like why and how, and you've ended up where you've ended up in a minute. But I'd like to go back to the beginning and sort of talk about how you got started in judo and why and where.
Okay. Okay, so I started quite early. In France, it's something many kids of my generation used to do. So I started at 4 years old, though we cannot really call that judo. A lot of kids of my age were doing what we call judo, but it's more like gymnastic, social activities, and stuff like that. And you really start with judo when you're like 8 years old, let's say. But yeah, the reason is very, very simple. I had a neighbor that was going to judo, and his mother said to my mother, "If you want, you can bring your son with mine." And so I just went with him. Easy as that.
What was it? So you say you were four, it's quite a young age to start. And what was it about the sport that sort of kept you interested?
In judo, the thing is, I've been doing a lot of sport actually. I've been doing karate, I've been doing rugby. I even did some different kinds of activities like guitar and other things. But I always was kind of crazy about fighting when I was a kid. I wanted to be like a Power Rangers. I don't know if you say that in English. You know those characters.
Yeah, the
And
Power Rangers. Yeah, I used to
yeah,
run around the playground as well, pretending to be a Power Ranger. Yes.
so yeah, that was the big thing. I wanted to be a superhero when I was a kid. And then I met my teacher in France, and he was like a superhero for me, and I wanted to just become like him, you know. And things went by, starting to do competition. I was always winning when I was very small, but then getting older, I went to a harder competition, and I started to see what is real competition. You know? So yeah, I was doing like regional, and then I started to go to a special judo school when I was 14. Yeah, regional school, and I stayed there until my 18 years old. And you know, by that time, I already had something like 10 years of judo behind me, and I didn't see my life without judo. And that thinking stay into my mind forever since. Like I stayed in that special school until 18 years old. I've been keep growing and fighting like national, a little bit of international, but nothing crazy. But then I went to university, and I wasn't strong enough to reach the national Olympic team in France, and I couldn't imagining my life without judo anymore. You know, without like being a professional athlete or something like that. So I decided to come to Paris to become student, because in Paris there is among the best judo club of France. So I kept training with the best people, even though I was not in the national team. And then I kept going like this. And yeah, I realized that it was hard to study and do judo in the same time. So I kind of almost failed my first year of university, and my judo result wasn't the best also. So I decided to take a short break of 1 year of judo to come back to judo after my first graduation of the bachelor degree. And so I did my bachelor degree, no problem. And after that, I decided to go to Japan for a year to come back at my level. So it's a little bit long. It's okay?
Yeah, no, it's okay. Keep going.
Okay. So I decided to go in Japan. I stayed there. The thing is, because I didn't do proper judo since a year at the time, after just 2 months of living in Japan and training like hell, I injured there and I broke the scaphoid bone in my wrist. And so I had to slow down judo again, and I decided to still doing something with my life in Japan. I wanted to discover this wonderful culture. So I've been working there. I've been teaching French, teaching judo. I've been doing so many things. I was working also as a bartender, and so yeah, I was going out meeting people. And at that time, I met my ex-girlfriend, and because of that relationship, instead of staying 1 year in Japan, I stayed 3 years in total. So after the 1 year, I came back in France to do a master degree, but somehow I was like living in France 2 months, living in Japan 1 month, living in France 2 months, 1 month in Japan. And so in total, I lived 18 months in Japan among 3 years. So
Where in Japan?
then
Sorry to cut you off there. Where in Japan were you training before you got injured?
I was lucky because I met a teacher who's called Tsukino Takashi Sensei. So he's from the Tokai University, and he was like one of the best at his time. He was also a roommate of Kosei Inoue, and so he was like among the dream team. And so because he was like very very strong, he was like among the top 3 national. He had contact everywhere in Japan, and then he built a dojo that is a little bit special, that at that time was helping French people to come to do a training camp in Japan. And so yeah, I was there with him, and basically it was a schedule like Monday I was going he was adapting to our physical condition, our problems and everything. So sometimes Monday I was going to high school in Yokohama, Tuesday I would go to Tokai, Wednesday I would go to Kodokan, Thursday I would go to Tsukuba. It was like all a plan that he was making himself, and that's something amazing in Japan, because usually if you go to Japan for judo, you will always stay in one place. It's quite hard to have so much different contact. So yeah, I was living the first year in Yokohama only for judo, so with that sensei. Then I lived about a year in Tokyo Central near Shinjuku, and then the last year I lived in Chiba. Maybe some people know about Disneyland Tokyo, which is in this region. And so yeah, I've been in many different universities in Japan. I've been in Tokai, Tsukuba, Tenri, Meiji, Kokugakuin, Toing, like I cannot even remember all of them. But if I have to mention one of them in particular, I have to mention Waseda University, because I've been working for them for a month. So yeah, I was doing like physical conditioning study at this time. And so yeah, after that I came back in France. I just got my graduation for my master degree. And the master degree I did was about sports science, to become like national coach or doing some management in a professional sport level. But I quickly realized that it was hard, very, very hard to get into that level of coaching, that level of management in France for judo, if you're not yourself world champion or Olympic champion or someone like this. So I was very, very disappointed, and yeah, I was seeing myself that I could still be like a local judo teacher somewhere and doing like an extra job on the side, but that was somehow killing me. That I knew that I would have to stop kind of professional judo, fighting with competitive seniors and stuff like this. So I was really, really sad. And I had that idea that I can explain later if you want. I had that idea of world tour that I was thinking about it already 10 years ago, that came back to my brain for different reasons. And I decided, well, if they don't give me the chance of being among the team, then I will try to build a project myself. And so that's how I started to build this project. One of the reasons I started this project was to keep going with judo, even though, well, I was too old to be in the team and stuff like this. You know?
Yeah, of course. And so let's talk about the project. Let's get into it now. So you mentioned that, and this is one of the big things I wanted to talk to you about. So, you wanted to sort of like explain, what the project is, and then obviously you can explain maybe how it's evolved to where you are now.
Okay. So the definition of the project is I have to go to 197 countries. So technically, that's all the countries of the world, even Korea, Afghanistan, like really every countries, and I have to do it with no fly, no hotel, and I have to practice and teach judo in all of those countries. So I started all by myself, and along the way I've got some people that got interested to it. So no, I'm not working for the IGF, but the IGF is helping me with that. They first helped me with social media cover, and lately they help me financially also. And I have also another official sponsor, which is an application for fighters called Fight Scoot. And then I have like a lot of people that give a small amount of money, like in one time or every month. And so it's been 1 year and 24 days today that I started. And I've been through, just let me double check. I've been through 23 countries on that project, I think. Yeah, 23. So if you want the list, I started with France, then Belgium, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Germany, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Serbia, Kosovo, North Macedonia. I went a little bit in Albania, but I don't count it officially. Sorry for the noise. Bulgaria, Turkey, Georgia, Azerbaijan, and Kazakhstan. So it took me about 1 year and 20 days to do all of that. And right now we are in a very complicated situation, actually. I'm in Kazakhstan. Next, I will go to Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan. I will be in Uzbekistan for the World Judo Championship. I will be invited by the International Judo Federation, as they invited me in Bulgaria for the European as well. And yeah, I say complicated because, as I said, I cannot fly, though there is some rules that I can break in some specific situation about flying, for example. I can break those rules if I get injured badly or if I have any health condition. I can break it also if I have some family problem that I have to come back quick, And last thing is I can break it for any geopolitical problems. And I'm right into it, the geopolitical problems, because right now I'm in Kazakhstan. On the right side, there is China, which was supposed to be the next countries, but China is still closed with COVID. North is Russia. Russia is not closed, but with the conflict with Ukraine right now, it's not the best time to go, though it's not impossible, but even though I go in Russia, then I will still be blocked by China. South is Afghanistan, and honestly, it was my plan to go to Afghanistan after Kyrgyzstan. But I talked about it with my contact from IGF and some military protection contact. And they told me that, especially right now, it's really not the best time to go. Afghanistan is the #1 country dangerous in the world at the time. So I should probably wait a year or something like that before going to Afghanistan. So then if I'm going west, I wanted to go to Turkmenistan, but Turkmenistan is one of the most complicated visa to get in the world. So I will get it someday, but I need to get more popularity in the social medias and stuff like this to have legitimacy, you know. So yeah, basically, I don't have any route right now to go because my plan is to go east, and I cannot go anywhere. I come from Azerbaijan, so I cannot come back there, and plus it's really complicated to get there. I required a special letter from the prime minister himself, so it's like a bit crazy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my time in Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, and Uzbekistan, crossing finger really strong to hope that China will unlock the situation. But if China doesn't change anything and that I'm stuck and I cannot move, then I will have to break the rule and fly probably to India, Pakistan, or Bangladesh, something on that side. But yeah, I really don't want to because that would break my streak, you know.
But can I ask? Maybe I don't know if I missed it when you said at the beginning. Well, this project, is this something you've designed yourself, and these rules are rules you've put in place for yourself, or has it come from somewhere else?
No, it's well, it's mixed actually. If you want, after I can explain you all the history behind this project, but basically,
no, explain it. I like it's something I'm interested in. I'm sure. I'm assuming at least one of the listeners might also be interested in it. So yeah, no, explain, please.
Okay, so well, first it started at the time when I was at my bachelor degree, you know, and that I kind of failed the first year. And I was thinking, okay, I want to do a world tour of the 4 strongest judo country in the world. And I was thinking, okay, I will go to Japan, I will go to Russia, I will go to Georgia, and probably another country a little bit more far away, like Brazil, for example. I believe France is on the top 4, but since I'm French, I don't need to stay in France, you know. So it was the beginning of this world tour idea. And so I was planning to do that for a year instead of going in Japan 1 year. And I saved money. I've been working in cafe, being a waiter, doing a lot of things. And when I realized how expensive it was to do that kind of project, I decided to just focus in Japan. Plus, I've been doing a trial trip already in Japan of 2 weeks or something like that. And I kind of fell in love with Japan. So I decided instead of just staying 3 months in Japan, I will leave the full thing there and I will stay a year. And I surely don't regret any second of it. It was, I think, one of the best decisions of my life. So yeah, that was the idea. So I went 9 months in Japan, and as I told you, I met a lot of people after I injured. I met my ex-girlfriend, blah blah blah, and because of that relationship with my ex-girlfriend, all that judo world tour idea kind of disappeared from my brain. I had different projects actually. I wanted to stay in Japan and live there, though I was traveling a lot with that girl. I was going to the countries around, like Filipino, Thailand, Indonesia, because she was from there, Dubai, Morocco. Well, you know, many countries, and everywhere I was going, all the time, I was bringing my judo stuff. And every time I was bringing my judo stuff and meeting judokas, they were always saying, okay, please come to the dojo, let's have training together. And after training, let's have a dinner. Do you want to sleep here? Do you want to have some drink with us? And, you know, it was always very welcoming. And that idea kind of started in my brain again. You know, I was thinking, maybe there is something to do about it. Plus, at the same time, the Japanese guy, Tsukino Takashi, sensei that I told you had this project that because he is kind of famous in France. When he was coming in France, basically he was coming about 2 months in France, and every time he was coming, he was going all around France and making like a circuit where he was doing a masterclass. And basically, with 2 months of masterclass in France, he could live something like 6 or 9 months in Japan with all the money he got. So this and that made me think, okay, maybe I should do something about it. Though I'm not a champion, but maybe there's something to do. And so after long story short, I came back to France. I had a breakup. I was like desperate, you know. Plus, I was desperate because even though I studied so hard to get like good graduation and stuff like this, I couldn't get the job that I was dreaming about. And it was in that period, actually, we're going to talk about Australia. It was in that period that Australia was burning. You know? I think you remember that. And Australia was burning, and Amazonia was burning also quite in the same time almost. And I saw that on the TV, and I was like, hell, I want to see that myself. I want to see all the beauty of the world before maybe it's too late to see, you know. And I was thinking, I want to see it, but I don't want to contribute to making it worse. And yeah, one day, some family friends came and they were talking about their cousins or something like that that did a world tour and that was amazing, blah blah blah. And I thought, okay, I have nothing to do right now. Like I have my graduation, I'm single. I don't know what I'm gonna do for the future, so let's do it. That idea of world tour came back. Though I was 26 years old, and you know, social pressure in France, and I kind of felt guilty of going for a 1 year world tour, 2 years world tour at that age when I just got graduated. That maybe I should just focus in professional work. And so I was like, okay, I will go for a world tour, but I cannot just go as a tourist, you know. So I was thinking I need to make something professional. And then I was, okay, I want to make judo. I know I can teach judo because I have a graduation and stuff like this, and I have some experience from Japan. I also have experience about coaching in physical conditioning the Olympic French judo team, some of them. And yeah, so I decided to build that, and I wanted at first to go to about 70, 80 countries. And I had some budget already, like 10,000 euro or 15,000 euro. I knew it would not be enough. So I was looking for sponsors. And so I've been contacting many people. I've been contacting International Judo Federation, many people. And the answer I received was all negative, actually. Though some member from the International Judo Federation answered me, even though the answer was negative, he gave me advice. And we've been talking together, and he told me, look, it's a good idea that you have, but what's the benefit for us? Why would we sponsor you? So we talked it, and he told me, well, first you need to have some social media branding. You know, I was a guy that was not at all into Instagram, YouTube, or those stuff. So good thing that COVID happened, because for 1 year and a half I've been studying a lot about Instagram, YouTube, video editing, and things like this. Because that guy told me, if you want to work with us, you have to become like, you have to do your personal branding. And he was like, okay, why 70 countries? Why 80 countries? And I told him, well, I draw a line on the map about the countries I want to go, and I calculated that it's going to be about 70, 80 countries. And he said, well, okay, but you can try to make it challenging also, because he asked me about my values. And I said about ecology, and I say about competition, fighting spirit, and stuff like this. And he said, wouldn't be a challenge if you try to go to every country? And I was like, hell yeah, let's try to do that. For me, in the beginning, it sounded a little bit impossible, you know. But then that guy kind of boosted me up, and I said, okay, we're gonna do that. And we built the project like this together, and idea kept going after, with months and years. And so where I was. And yeah, basically COVID happened, and I had to slow down a little bit, but I kept building, and there, that was it. I was ready to go to 197 countries 2 years after the beginning of COVID.
Yes, that's it's definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I mean, 80 countries is a mammoth challenge. I think. I don't know. I don't know many people that have been to 80 countries. My last count was 45, and that was. I feel as that's pretty high. That's been over. I don't know what, like 20, 25 years of doing judo. So yeah, no, that's and then so when you set off, let's go back to the beginning, right? You set off. I mean, how do you begin to pack for something like this? Like, I've been say packing my judo bag for years, going on trips, and I still look at my bag sometimes and think, what do I need to take with me? Where do you begin?
Yeah, that's a good question. At the beginning, I was very stressed, and COVID time, I had a lot of time watching videos and stuff like this. So I was basically watching videos of nomads and travelers and people like this about backpacking, and everything that was like the words that were coming back by those guys were minimalist. You need to have a, I don't know, like 10 kilo bag and things like that. But my project, it's not possible. It's impossible. You need to have a judogi because I'm doing YouTube video. You need to have a like a beast computer, and because I don't have enough money, I cannot have a MacBook, so I cannot have light one. And so my backpack basically is like 20 kilo. But what I know about the backpack and how to make it ready is that the most important for me is having judogi, having running shoes because I'm still doing a lot of sport besides having my camera gear, computer and stuff like this. I used to have a drone before the Turkish military broke it. But yeah, about clothes, it's very, very simple. I have maybe 4 t-shirts, like everyday t-shirts, I have one sweatpants, one jean, about the same number of pants and socks, like 5 of each, and that's it. I don't need anything much. Like I have a towel, of course, but pretty much everywhere I go, they give me towel. And the thing is, almost every single judo club, give me things. And I was thinking, okay, first plan was to go from France to New Zealand by taking the north side. So I was thinking I will go to Russia. Couldn't go to Russia for the reason that you know, but I was very scared of the winter there. But then the thing is, when I was in Estonia, judo club of Tartu gave me like warm socks and then big jackets. And when I was in Sweden, same thing. They give me like special technology T-shirt. And every country, every club, people give me things. So I almost don't need to buy anything about clothes. I just adapt to the seasons where I am. And either people give it to me, either I buy it myself. But I'm at a point that it's more a problem for me. Like I send things to friends almost every 2 months because people give me too much things. We were talking about Kazakhstan earlier, and I believe Kazakhstan is, I will not say the best because I don't want to make anyone jealous, but it's among the top 3 most hospitable countries I've ever seen. And I was invited to some traditional sport recently, which is kind of fighting on a horse, basically. And when they saw me, it was like the television and stuff like this, and they made me speak on the mic. And then the plan was to give me a horse, but I cannot have a horse with me. So instead, they give me traditional clothes, which is like a big jacket, and I have 2 of them. So my bag is fully loaded again, and I need to send it in France again. So my problem is not about what I'm gonna miss, what I'm gonna forget to have in my bag. It's about sending away what I have in my bag because I always have everything I need. It's only a few things I need.
If you'd have kept that horse, I mean, that'd have been a pretty cool way of traveling to the next place.
Definitely. And I believe a lot of judo players are a little bit crazy in a stupid way, but in a good way also. And when that guy told me that, actually, I was thinking myself about, because I was in Astana, the capital, and I had to come to Almaty. and I was really imagining being on that horse with my backpack and stuff like this. But yeah, I forgot about it anyway. But it could be cool. But the thing is, 600 kilometers is a little bit too much.
Yeah, especially if you're not used to it.
Yeah.
So, and obviously you mentioned there, you know, in terms of favorites, you're not going to mention anywhere, but so far, maybe where have you enjoyed teaching judo the most in terms of where you've been?
That's a good question. Usually people ask me where I had the best time, but about teaching judo, let me think a little bit. Well, it depends. Do we talk about this project or do we talk about all of my life?
Let's answer both. So let's go this project first, as we're talking about this project, and then I'll ask you about the you know, where in your life and why.
Okay.
To prepare yourself.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, actually, I can also answer part of the question I was telling you. That when people ask me what is the best country, you know, and the thing is, there is no best country. There is people that make a country good or bad, but 99% the country becomes good because of people, because most of the people are good. If I have to judge by the nature, then yeah, there is hell beautiful countries like Norway, for example, or Kazakhstan. It's very beautiful. But if I judge in general, yeah, I judge because of the people. And the funny thing is, the country where I enjoyed the most, or the country where I got injured, because when I get injured, then I have to stay quite a long time in the country. The first time I got injured with that project was in Germany, and yeah, it was just the beginning of that project, and I didn't really know if it would work or not, because my bet is to show that my judo black belt is my passport to the world, that it will open every gate of the world, you know. And at that time, I didn't know if it was right or not. And so, anyway, I go to a regional training in Germany, and I have quite a bad sprain on my knee. And I was already hosted by a judo club called ATV, which is ETV in Hamburg. And when they saw that, they were like, really sorry for me, and immediately the coach came to me and he told me, look, Julien, it's no problem, we're gonna do everything to help you, and take as much time as you need to recover. Meanwhile, you can work in the judo club here, you can be a coach, you can do physical training and stuff like this, and we will pay you, so it will not make any problem on your project, you know. And yeah, basically I stayed teaching a little bit more than a month in ATV, Germany, and yeah, it was really wonderful because I could build relationship with all of those people. And normally that's something I try to avoid. I try to not stay more than 10 days in a place because it's always breaking my heart to leave the place where I build things with people, you know. But then if I'm injured, what can I do? I have to stay anyway. And so I stay with them. I made amazing friendship, relationship. And, you know, even now it's a year after and I still talk with those people. I was speaking with the girl, Julie, that was hosting me. And she saw that I might be in India soon and she asked me, okay, let's go together. So, you know, amazing relationship. All the countries in that project, Lithuania, yeah, especially, well, I injured there also. I injured really badly, and that made a big change in my project. I changed my views about that project. I will tell you later in another question. But yeah, basically, the situation in Lithuania is a little bit complicated. There's a federation and there's judo association, and basically we're fighting together because the president of the federation is doing some dirty things. But anyway, I was hosted by the president of Judo Association, and yeah, we've been talking a lot about the experience I had, and as soon as I could walk and things like this, they let me teach there. And it was amazing because, you know, Germany, well, they're used to see strong judo players because Germany is a strong judo country. So for them, just seeing a French judoka is nothing. Just, yeah, it's cool. That's it. But in Lithuania, when I was there, I saw the kids, especially competitors, you know, that were drinking every of my words because I was like the French guy, and French just became Olympic champion by team and things like this, you know. And it was really amazing. And the coach, which is the president of the Judo Association, basically he just gave me a green card to do everything I wanted there. And he's not just a normal coach, actually he's a superstar in Lithuania because he's the highest medalist in the country in judo. He was a bronze medal in Rotterdam. His name is Marius Paskovicius. And so yeah, there also I had amazing experience. And you know, it became human experience because I speak with people that tell me about their private stuff, and it's just amazing. Then things changed a little bit when I arrived around Turkey, Georgia, Azerbaijan, because basically in Europe, everybody could understand me when I was speaking in English. Even some people were speaking French. But since I'm arrived in Turkey, it's a little bit different. It's a new experience because a lot of people don't speak English. So sometimes it's hard, but it's also very interesting. And in Azerbaijan, well, it's hard to just pick few. I had so many good experiences, but I will tell you this one. In Azerbaijan, I was invited by the federation, and it was something crazy already because Azerbaijan is one of the only countries that are still closed because of COVID. You can enter Azerbaijan only by flying, but flying is prohibited for me. So I contacted the federation about my project, and they told me, yeah, your project is good, and we would love to have you around. And so Ulker, which is the secretary of the federation, she's been working like crazy to make me enter. And she contacted the sport ministry, that contacted the prime minister of Azerbaijan, that got me a special permission to arrive to Azerbaijan through Georgia by the land border. And this is really crazy because, you know, when I was walking there, I was speaking with the policeman at the beginning. They didn't believe me and they didn't let me pass. But then they got the personal word from high people in the government, and they were asking me like, "Who the hell are you? Even diplomat cannot enter in the country, and you with your backpack and your sports clothes, you can enter the country. Like, what is that? You know?" And yeah, anyway, they made me. They did that for a good reason. So I could see about Azerbaijan. I could talk about the judo program they have in Azerbaijan because they're working a lot and investing a lot. And one day they bring me into a mountain. It's like 2 hours away from Baku, capital city. And they bring me to a group of teenagers from 12 to 16 years old that actually never did judo. And it was in a luxury hotel, like one of the best hotel of the country. And I had to teach judo to, I don't know, 30 kids, but those kids were very special. Maybe you know that Azerbaijan used to have a war with Armenia 2 years ago. And of course, a lot of bad things happen, and so those childs are orphans child. So they lost their parents, and it's special program from the government with psychologists and a special educator to help them. So my mission was to go teach them judo and philosophy, and of course to give them a nice time. And I was very stressed because we never did judo. We didn't have dojo. We didn't have tatami. We didn't have judogi. But still, and we didn't speak the same language. But still, judo just worked. I don't know. It's some kind of magic. Like as soon as I put my my belt and my judogi, and we started the judo. Even though people never did judo, even though they were sad, we're just having a lot of fun, and it was amazing experiment again in that project and in my life in general. And so yeah, the last thing. So this was some of the experience I had about this project. But of course, there's so many other countries where it was amazing. Turkey, I worked with Syrian refugee. In Kosovo, so I worked with a lot of people in Sweden. I worked with the national team in Slovakia. Same thing. I worked with some people that got medals at the World Championship. So a lot of good story. But yeah, I was talking about before my project also, because I had amazing experiment of teaching. Well, of course, it was Japan. So I've been teaching there for about 2 years, and that's how I learned to speak Japanese. I don't speak fluently Japanese, but I speak quite okay. And I was teaching from kids, like really, really kids, from 5, 6 years old to 20 years old, I would say. And yeah, I was 23 at the time, 23 years old. And I believe I learned more in 1 year of teaching and learning also myself in Japan than in all of my life before that. It was just amazing also to see the difference with Japanese kids and French kids. Like, for example, you give them a work, you give them some uchikomi to do, and they just focus on it, and they can do it for 20, 30, 40 minutes if you don't say anything else. Friends, if you ask kids to do the same task for more than 5 minutes, then they will do a mess, you know. They will start to do something else, and that's okay. I'm not complaining about that. That's just different. So yeah, that
I've
I think
I've made the same observation. So I've never taught in Japan,
yeah.
but I remember I've been there 3 times over the years to train. I went to some of the universities that you'd mentioned earlier, and but I remember I was staying at the Kodokan, and I remember watching a session, and it blew my mind because there's a session at the Kodokan with the little kids, and they must have been like maybe 4 or 5. They were tiny, and they were just doing uchikomi up and down the mat for like. I mean, I got bored. I got bored and left and got some food and
Yes.
came back, and they were still going. I was amazed at
Yeah.
how like you're saying. Obviously, I coach now, and I've got to be like you say. You got to change every sort of 5 minutes. You got to maybe something new to a certain degree to keep them
Yeah.
interested, and it's an interesting observation.
Yeah. Japanese system is definitely different. But actually, the interesting thing about that, I told you that Japanese coach Tsukino Takeshi had some experience in France, and he's a French lover basically, and he studied about France a lot, and he loved French judo pedagogy because, well, there's good and bad things in every country actually, and Japan, of course, is wonderful. It's the strongest. Well, that's something we can talk about, but it's, I believe, one of the strongest judo country in the world. But there's a lot of bad things, especially about teaching there, and so many children, so many teenagers stop too early or give up because of mistreating and things like this, you know. So actually, the request of the Japanese coach for me and for the other French people that were coming there was to teach in the French way. So we were mostly doing, especially for kids, teaching through games and stuff like this, while the traditional Japanese way, you know, is much more strict. So yeah, it was interesting.
And so, obviously, you're saying you've been training yourself, and you've been doing a lot of coaching. Where have you maybe learned the most about judo, and on your travels so far, outside of maybe Japan, like you say? Then,
Yeah. It's a good question. Basically, you know, I told you that Japanese coach actually, when he's coming in France, he's like a superstar because he got national champion and things like this. But me, I'm nobody. Basically, yes, I was like in high level school. I had some good results, but I'm not French champion. I'm not European champion or anything. I just yeah, I have 25 years of experience. I'm not a champion. So what gave me the legitimacy to do that actually is some of the experience I had in Japan, but in my life in general. Also, France system is quite famous and respected around the world. But the thing is, by traveling every country, it's like a big cake, and I bite piece of cake in every country, and I take a little part from every country, every teachers I meet. And so, for example, I can teach the German style sankaku. I can teach the Lithuanian, Brazilian jiu-jitsu style sankaku. And you know, that thing is quite hard for the normal coach because you don't travel that much. But me, I see things from everywhere, and that's what gave me the legitimacy of doing what I do. And also the IGF is helping quite a lot when I say that I'm supported by IGF. It's helping. So yeah, it's the experience that I get everywhere. I believe the experience I get everywhere. I spent about, I don't know, 10 years fighting at high level. I believed I learned a lot during the time. So mostly, yeah, it's my competitive years, all of that big cake that I'm eating along the way. So I'm teaching, but I'm also taking class. And yeah, but basically, I would say 60% of the 60-70% of the sessions I'm doing, of the class I'm doing, is a mix of my French and Japanese teaching class. You know? But I always try to improve it with different things I learn along the way.
And so you just go back to something you mentioned before about I think you said about Japan being the best country for judo in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Is that yeah? Why is that? You said you were going to go into that a little bit more. Why do you think that?
Well, actually, it's opposite. So there is statistic, and if you check the statistic, there is no doubt. Japan is super strong. They have like a lot of Olympic medal at pretty much every Olympic except London. And yeah, on that side, they're super strong. I believe first it's because they're the oldest, they're the creator of judo, and they have more experience than anyone else around. And also because they're doing it way more professionally than anyone else in the world. Like in France, we're 500,000 judo players, but in those 500,000 judo players, there is not even 10% then doing competition. While in Japan, there are about 300,000 judo players, and among those 300,000 judo players, they all started judo in high school or university and stuff like this, and they all had to do competition. So the level is way, way, way stronger because they have a lot of concurrence in Japan. But why I was thinking that maybe it's not the strongest judo country in the world? Basically, if you take the numbers, I told you French were 500,000, Japan 300, so we're already bigger in number. I think I don't have the official statistic, but I think Russia is bigger, is the number one judo country in the world about numbers. But I don't have the official number, but I believe so. The thing is, Japan with 300,000 judo players, they get a lot of medalists. France, we are 500,000, we get a lot of medalists. When you think about Georgia, almost every single Olympic, there is Olympic champion. And if not Olympic champion, then you know that they will have a medal. When you see a Georgian at competition, you know that the guy will not be ridiculous. And I say the guy, but wait a few years, the girls are coming also. And the thing with Georgia, do you have any idea about how many judo players there is in Georgia?
No.
No, there is 5,000 judo players. So how can you get that much Olympic medal, that much world medal with only 5,000 judo players, while on the other side, French, we are 500,000 judo players. and we get a little bit more than them. So I believe the quality of Georgian judoka is just amazing because
But let me just let me ask you a question, because obviously I saw this on your Instagram story recently. When you were in Georgia, you went to the wrestling, so the national wrestling. I don't know the name. I can't remember. So was that
Chidaoba?
Yeah, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. I'll do a terrible job. And then so how big as a sport is that in the country? Because it's not like there's. My understanding is that somewhere like Georgia does have a very strong wrestling background within the culture, right?
Yeah, that's very true. Well, maybe I'm gonna wait that to finish. Okay, so yeah, that's a full topic actually. So basically, Georgia, maybe you know about their language. The writing is very, very, very special, and it looked very old. The reason is that Georgia almost never been occupied by enemy, except of course Soviet Union. But they always been fighting like crazy, even the women and everybody. When the enemy were coming to try to invade them, they were fighting like bulls. And that's the thing. It's been always into their blood that they're like crazy fighters. And Chidoba is a very old wrestling martial art system. It's way older than judo actually, and it was used to make some war actually, and to end conflict in a, let's say, peaceful way instead of killing each other. We'll just go for a wrestling match. And so yeah, they do that since forever, let's say. And judo is the most popular sport in the country. For example, I was with the national coach, David. I forgot the name because they have a very complicated name, but I was with him in the mountain, and he bring me with the recent Olympic champion, Lasha Bekaori, in minus 90 kilo, and we went for a few days together having some training in the woods, in the mountain, swimming in the river and stuff like this, and I filmed. I made a YouTube video about it. So I lost my camera in the river, so there's only 50% of what I filmed. But yeah, that Bikori, the guy, he was driving me back to my place sometimes, and it was crazy. Like he couldn't drive more than 10 minutes. People were going in the middle of the street to stop him because his name is writing on the car, and to stop him and to take picture with him. And he was very pleased of it all the time, going out smiling, going with the kids, and some kids like hug him and literally screaming when they see him. So judo is super, super popular in Georgia. Football starting to become popular a little bit also, but yeah, they're wrestlers. And the thing with Chidaoba, basically when they do championship, it brings all people from wrestling, boxing, judo, sambo, and they all fight together. Though, yeah, one sad thing, I cannot give name here because there is rule with IGF that a professional judo player cannot participate in different fighting sports. So yeah, just knowing that there is a judo player that's doing it, but we're not supposed to. I believe that kind of sport is one of the reasons why they're so strong.
If you look at there's a lot of countries with a strong sort of wrestling history. Russia, Mongolia, Turkey,
and
these countries
I said earlier that I went to a traditional sport in Kazakhstan because here I am, and yeah, they have such a sport also here. I think it's called kurech. It's kind of wrestling, but something very funny. I'm sad I couldn't see it, but I really hope I will be able to see it before I leave. We have wrestling on the horse here. So basically, two guys are they both have a horse, and the first one that fall from the horse lose. So I really hope that I will be able to to do a video about it. And basically, they have a lot of sports with horses because it's in the culture, like. So, yeah.
Yeah, and so looking, you sort of outlined the next few countries, and then some of the problems associated with the route. But where, is there anywhere on the list that you've never been to? You're really looking forward to go.
Mm-hmm. So when I started this project, I had some country target, let's say. Just to make things clear, when I started this project, the war between Russia and Ukraine didn't start yet. So the country I wanted to go the most was Russia because of the judo over there. I think it's very amazing the judo they do. And yeah, it's just so sad with the situation. Yeah, it's a complicated topic, but I will not go to Russia any soon. So after Russia, I was thinking of Georgia, actually, for the same reason. Japan, of course, but Japan, I already been there. So if I have to think about a country that is far away from home, I cannot dream about Brazil because of their Newaza culture. And yeah, no, I'm so pleased and happy to see how this project is going. It's getting more and more popular. And it was a few months ago, I remember on Instagram, after IGF been publishing an article on the website, I got followed by Flavio Canto from Brazil. And he's one of the person I was watching when I was a kid, at the Olympic Championship. And yeah, since then we talk together sometimes, and he's waiting for me to come in Brazil to teach the stuff I have to teach, and so that he can show me about the Brazilian, well, I will not say jiu-jitsu, but the Brazilian judo way.
Yeah, I fought him. I fought him in Brazil, in a team tournament. And he beat me. I was pretty starstruck the whole fight.
yeah, they are amazing. They're so strong.
Yeah, it's amazing for judo. It's incredible. We did two team competitions, and France was one of the teams that went. There was a French team there. It was a long time ago. I can't remember who was on the team. And we got invited, so it was Portugal, France, and Great Britain, and then Brazil. And we did training camps there, and it's amazing. And the people go absolutely mad for judo out there as well. They love it there. It was the only time I've ever felt like a superstar doing judo. The people coming up to me in the street, and they'd seen the team on TV and stuff. It was mental.
Yeah,
definitely don't get that in England.
Countries. In Georgia, is the same. You're judoka, you're well respected there. But yeah, just one thing also, the other countries I'm really waiting to go is kind of unpredictable. This is countries like North Korea, Afghanistan, Iraq, those kind of countries that pretty much nobody goes. And I'm very curious, and I believe that there's a lot of things to show about those countries. So I was supposed to go in Afghanistan in a month. As I said, I got refused to go there. So I didn't go to any of those hard countries, let's say. Though I had my first experience, I had some war experience already with Syria. I was on the Turkish side, 5 kilometers away from Syria. I also had with the Ukrainian conflict. I made a video of Ukrainian refugee in Slovakia and stuff like this. So yeah, I'm really waiting to be in complicated countries because it's so easy, If I want to come to Australia, I just take a flight ticket, I get my visa, and life is beautiful there. But I want to go where things are hard and to share with other people.
Yeah, well, I think that's where you see a real sense of character of people, and like you said earlier, the people make a country. And I imagine when people have been through things like a war, that's where you really see the true nature.
Yeah, definitely. You know, one of the country where I had the best time also in this project is Serbia. And well, some short history. Serbia was in conflict with Kosovo, and basically Kosovo was helped by NATO, and Serbia was against NATO. And when people from those countries think about NATO, they think about US, but they think about France also, since we are like one of the big country in it, you know. And it was a war like 20 years ago, and well, NATO been bombing a lot Serbians, and so there is some tension, let's say, with Americans, French in Serbia. And, when I arrived there, I felt it. I felt some people tell me, "Ah, you're French. You know, like you've been bombing me 20 years ago." But I was telling them, no, it's not me. It's the politicians, and it's war reasons that I don't even know about, actually. And the thing is, they are willing, Serbians, they're willing to show how kind and welcoming they are. And with all the bad experience they had in their life, you can feel that they're wounded, you know, they're still hurt. But even though they're hurt, they're still wonderful, wonderful people. It's just amazing how many things they give me, how many histories they share to me. But yeah, I've met so many crazy people. You know, I even met quick story. I even met a terrorist in Kosovo. It's a grandmother, and she was telling me that during the war, actually, military tried to kill her husband, and she shot military in the head with a gun. So she's wanted in Serbia as a terrorist, but in Kosovo she's not, of course. So yeah, that's this project. I have so many interesting experience, and I learned a lot from, especially those people that been living hard things and that have hard experience in life.
And do you ever get any doubts about the project that you're doing? Do you ever get those moments where you're like, why am I doing this? And I have to stop and sort of remind yourself of the bigger picture.
No, not really. I mean, yes and no. Like the first thing is, before I even started that, everybody told me that I was crazy and that I'm too old, and that think about work, think about sentimental life, relationship, and stuff like this. A lot of people tried to tell me to not do it. Even my parents were a little bit scared about it. Now they're supporting me. Thanks for that. But since I'm doing it, it's working like a roller coaster. It's going so fast, you know, and I'm really happy about it, and it's going the good way. So professionally, I'm not thinking like why I'm doing this, because I know that at least professionally I have justification. And if I have to stop someday, it will be something that will be useful professionally, at least at first. But of course, for my life, it's, I don't know, it's like I feel like if I do that, then it's okay. I can die happy, you know. But yeah, the only part that sometimes make me stop and make me think a lot is about my family, friends also. And yeah, it's hard. It's very hard to be away from my parents, especially my grandmother. I'm scared that something happened to them. Though my parents try to come to see me every 6 months, but now that I'm more far and that I'm in not famous countries, it starts to be very hard to come to see me. But yeah, that's those things that make it very hard. Apart from that, no, it's every single day is a confirmation that I took the right decision about this project. Every single person I meet, every good experience I have is a confirmation that I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, no, I think it's incredible what you're doing. On the first, I think it was an IGF post that I saw a while ago now, and I think I first reached out to you. I think you were just on you mentioned about the when you were on the border with Syria. I think that's when we first spoke. Yeah, and I've been following you ever since then, and I think it's an amazing thing that you're doing. Like I said, I've obviously traveled a lot with judo, and it's one of the best things about judo has been for me is just the amount of the world that I've been able to see. And I think it's great. And I know you've mentioned you'll be coming down to Australia at some point. How are you planning to get to Australia with this no flight rule?
Yeah, well, I didn't thought it would be complicated. Yeah, I didn't thought it would be complicated that early. Actually, the original plan was to go from France to New Zealand by north side, so North Europe, North Asia, then coming down, and to come back to France by south side, and then going to America and stuff. And so the plan at first was to go to Australia through, what's the name in English? New Guinea, I think. Yeah, New Guinea. So yeah. So all of those countries, I would go to Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Filipino, then going to islands, Indonesia, Malaysia, until New Guinea, and then Australia by boat, and boat again to New Zealand. But it's complicated to have those boats. Like sometimes there is no touristic boat. For example, in Azerbaijan, I went from Azerbaijan to Kazakhstan, and because of the COVID situation, it was not any touristic boat. So because of the contact I have, I'm lucky with that, I could get in cargo ship. And so I took a cargo ship boat to come to Kazakhstan, and I believe this will be probably the same way. Not for Australia, because New Guinea is quite close from Australia, and I believe that there is easy way to go by boat. But for example, from Australia to New Zealand, probably cargo ship. But when I planned this project, even though I prepared it for 2 years, like really, I was kind of a dreamer at that time and say, okay, I'm going to every country, it's going to be wonderful, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, it's not as easy as I thought. And for example, with the experience I have right now, I know that I have to change a lot of things. And I was thinking that after being in America, I will go to Africa. So first North America, then South America, and then from Brazil, I would go to Africa. But I don't know anything about seas, about sailing. And turned out I met, well, I didn't meet her, but a girl from Instagram that is French and that is traveling the world by sailing. And she told me, well, you can try to go from Brazil to Africa, but there is like very high percentage of chance that you will not doing it, you will not be alive at the end of it, because it's among the hardest sea in the world. So yeah, I probably have to change the route, because I just planned it at the beginning, and just drawing line is quite easy. I was drawing the line, checking the visa requirement, that's it. But yeah, I have to be much more serious about the thing I do. But Australia, I don't believe it will be hard things to go. The only problem right now, which is a big problem, is China that is blocking me.
Yeah, China was tricky on a good day. I remember I went there back in 2012, and it was difficult to get a visa then. So I'd imagine it'd be very, very difficult now.
Yeah, it's the hardest country to enter. Well, it's not the hardest; it's just impossible to enter because of COVID.
Well, hope you have a bet. If you once you get there, I'll tell you a quick story. So I went to China in 2012. I did like a little world tour. I went to Japan. Then first time I came to Australia, and then went to China. And I traveled up from Hong Kong to Shanghai, and that's when I did the 28-hour train journey I mentioned to you. and then I got the fast train from Shanghai to Beijing. And I'd made a contact with one of the Chinese delegation at the 2012 Olympics, and at the Paris tournament that year. So I made contacts. We've been emailing. Apparently, it'd all been arranged for me to go and train at the Beijing University. So I get to Beijing, and then you can't use Google Maps in China. So I was really struggling. Managed to find. I was walking around for ages. Managed to find the university. Spoke to some of the judo players, and they were like, "Come back tomorrow. Training at this time." I was like, "Cool." So I get there the next day. I'm all taped up. I'm warming up with all the other guys on the mat, and then the coach comes in. So I go and introduce myself to the coach, and he's like, "Leave." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Leave," and points to the door. I was like, and then all the students sort of scurried away. And I was like, "All right then." So I got my bag and left, and that was it.
But what was the reason?
I don't know. No one would explain. I sort of just picked my bag up and left. I was like, I didn't really know what to do. It's like the first time that had ever happened to me in my life. So
Okay.
it was an interesting afternoon. And I was traveling on my own, so it was difficult, and yeah. So
I've had
So yeah,
that.
I hope you have a better go at it than I did.
Yeah, we'll see. But I've had that little bit weird things also. You
Yeah,
know, every countries I went so far, I've been accepted in
yeah,
every national team. I could go everywhere. People were either really happy to see me, or on the other hand, sometimes they were like just neutral, like, okay, it's just a guy coming. But I've never been refused, and for the first time, I've been refused here in Kazakhstan. So yeah, I don't really know the reason, but maybe I heard maybe because of COVID, which is kind of weird. Maybe because I could be a spy. So yeah, I've been refused in Kazakhstan, but yeah, it doesn't matter. I still go to many different clubs, so it's all good.
yeah. Well, it was one of the reasons 'cause I wasn't able to train. I think the national team was because it was after 2012, the Olympics. So I think the national team was on a break, or that's what I was told anyway. And this was just a
Yeah.
university judo club, so I don't know. They might have had some kind of, I don't know. Maybe only students were allowed to train there, and it wasn't explained to me. But anyway, yeah, it was. Yeah, it was the first time I'd ever been turned. Well, the one and only time I've ever been turned down from training. So it's an interesting feeling.
Yeah,
But yeah, so when you come to Australia, you know, you're more than welcome to come and train at the judo club where I train and coach.
thank you very much. I
Maybe
will for sure.
maybe wrap the conversation up there. Before we do, I just want to give you the opportunity to obviously either thank anyone or you know, give some information where people can find you. If anybody who's listening wants to help you out, like where can they find you?
Okay. Well, first, I want to thank you actually because it's helping me a lot, and yeah, there's a lot of different way to help me, but one of the most important things is to spread the word. Sorry, my French accent, but yeah, that's helping me a lot to communicate about this project because what's most important is community. I need big community, so you're helping me. Thank you very much. I will not thank every single teacher that I've met during that project, but if someone I know listen to the podcast, and I believe they will because I will share it, just hi to everybody and thank you for helping me building this project that is something wonderful for my life. Also, I believe really nice to live together with all the people that living their experience through my social medias and sometimes with me also, because I always say to everyone that if someone want to travel, if someone want to be part of the story, just contact me and we can organize something together. But yeah, where to find me? Actually, the name of the project is the Judo Nomad. So you can find it on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, yeah, I hate TikTok, but I have to start TikTok, so I'm doing some mixed things there. I teach some judo. I throw some video of the things I'm living around on the way, and yeah, I believe that's also the IGF publish article about every month. There is 5 or 6 article right now. There's a new one that's coming. I will be at the World Championship the beginning of October in Uzbekistan, and to help me, yeah, there is different way. There is either sharing the social accounts that I just said. Second way is to receive me, actually, if you're from a country, even though very small country, like it's one of my dream actually around Australia, to go to all of those small islands, Vanuatu, those kind of places. I'd really love to go there. So if someone listen from anywhere in the world, please contact me. And financially, I have a nice way actually to sponsor this project. I have different way of fund it. But one of the ways, I have a website that you can find on my Instagram on the bio. There is a link tree that spread to different website, and there is a Tipeee link. Tipeee is a crowdfunding website where you can put money either in one time, or you can put money every month. And the thing is, I'm building a community on those social accounts, and I try to do the buy me a coffee strategy, which means if many people can give me $1 a month, let's say that I have 10,000 subscribers, for example, if only 10% of those 10,000 subscribers give me $1 a month, then I have $1,000 a month. So, and that's already enough for me to survive. So at the moment, I'm close from earning as much as I spent. I still spend a little bit, but there's so much more that I need to invest, and so much more money actually that I need to keep going with that project. So yeah, if you want to buy me a coffee, you know where to do. And of course, if you want to buy 2, 3, 100 coffee, you can also do that website. So thank you very much for that podcast.
You know, like I said, a huge amount of respect for what you're doing. I think it's an incredible project, and I'm looking forward to meeting you properly and doing some judo. And I'll link everything in when I post this on my platform, and yeah, I'll link everything below. And it's funny actually because something that resonated with me what you said towards the beginning. So when the first sort of lockdown happened, that's when I started this project, the Judo Way of Life. And I had to go and learn how to use Instagram, and I learned how to edit film videos and edit videos. So this is my little project that was born out of that time.
That's
so yeah,
that's why I heard the love behind.
yeah, just had a little chuckle because like I say, it's interesting how there's certain people. I always think certain people will, in any situation, certain people will grow in that situation. Other people will tread water, and other people will drown. And it's I'm heavily biased towards judo, and I think a lot of judo people are quite similar. They push on and they try to win in whatever way that is. It's not just judo, sure, but it seems quite common, I think, in judo.
Yeah, because judo is not sport. I mean, of course it's a sport, but it's an old philosophy, and that build people that are alike. So yeah, definitely.
And awesome. Well, again, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for taking time out of your travels and to have a conversation. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.